Today I'm going to take you through my ship my cards order. That's basically a lot of cards that I've had in the States for the last 6 months. It's finally arrived back in Australia. There's some really cool things, a bunch of different sports cards, both raw and graded for my PC. Some things I'm going to sell, some Pokemon cards, some other entertainment cards, a lot of really cool things. And if you want to basically see what I like to buy and sell, this is going to be the video for you. If you're interested in learning a few tips and tricks on how to sort of fund your collection by buying and selling things as well, you're going to see some deals in here that I was able to spot by essentially having, you know, a wide knowledge on collectibles and things that, you know, other people might sleep on. So I'm going to share those tips with you as well. So let's get straight into it. All right, so there's a bunch to get through, so just bear with me. Like I said, there's a crap ton of cards here, a lot of PC stuff. I'll talk through my thinking process for picking up some of these cards as we go through. If there's any other questions, I'll answer them down in the comments below, as I always do. So just give me a sec to get this first lot out. So for those that are regulars on the channel, you'll know that I'm a big fan of Select 2013-14 basketball. It's my favorite set of all time. It's the first hobby box that I ever bought, actually. Like the box of the cards actually had autos and patches in there that were, you know, on a regular basis. So to give you some context, I'm buying these to try and fill out a few sets. I'm chasing the purple pulsars because they're my favorite insert in that set, whilst there's less numbered ones and gold ones and things like that. The purple pulsars just look a lot better than anything else, and I'm working on some key sets for those. So I've picked up a few cards from that set here, as you can see in a second. I'm chasing always Hall of Famer match one stuff, which is Clyde Drexler and Steve Nash. Steve Nash is out of 60, the Drexler is out of 99. The good thing about this set as well, they're both, you know, it's quite affordable actually. And like I said, these are all prime relics as well, which is sometimes an error from Panini. They'll put those on there, but from my understanding, from a Select 2013 perspective, the prime notation is correct. That typically means it's part, you know, of the nameplate or jersey. Now there's some other things in here. I think this is all soccer as well. So similar to Select 2013-14, I'm a big fan, obviously soccer, as you can see, with a Western Sydney Wanderers hat on. Italy, who I am Italian, won the Euros in 2020. I've said before on the channel, I'm collecting the rainbow of every player in that set, just because I think it's a really cool thing. They won the tournament, pretty cool way to go about collecting. So blue prism here, Emerson. So most of this stuff is actually quite cheap. Orange prism of Emerson, maroon of Donnarumma, who's obviously the most expensive, or maybe not obviously if you're not a fan of soccer, but he's the most expensive Italian player in this set, even though he's a goalkeeper. Bernardeschi, I got the camo prism of Insigne, maroon Emerson, orange Jorginho, orange Donnarumma, maroon Insigne, maroon Bernardeschi, silver Donnarumma, and these two were freebies from Select 2020 as well. And then this Graziano Pele is a bit earlier than that. I think it's like Select 2016. Now, back to Select 2013 basketball. Like I said, I'm working on like a few sets. Basically, I want to get the parallels, or a full set, sorry, of the purples in the top selections, as you can sort of see here, and the rookie patch autos. They're not really patches, but the rookie autos. Now I've got one here of Bill Cartwright and Cedric Maxwell. Pretty cool. I think the purple prisms just look really sick. You can sort of see that there's a nice refractor on there, right? It just looks sick. These are unfortunately not on card, but again, pretty cool. These top selections has some really good players in it. Ideally, you want to chase all the Hall of Famers first, but you've got people like, I think LeBron has one in here, as does Kevin Durant. Obviously, they're quite expensive, but for the most part, these are pretty affordable. They are in one touches because, you know, I put them in one touches. I unbox these off and ship my cards and put them in one touches because I like to keep my collection in one touches. Now, this is a funny one. Does that constitute a two-color patch? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? We've seen here as well. I'm chasing, like for basketball, I basically want to get on-card autos of every Hall of Famer that does have an on-card auto. I really like NT, so this is Gail Goodrich. I've got a couple of others from this set, but again, on-card autos are just freaking sick. It does sign a lot, but there seems to be a lot of sticker autos these days as well. Now, sort of the centerpiece of what I want to try and do for Select 2013-14 is getting, you know, the rookie autos or the rookie relic autos. They refer to as patches because they are prime, but who knows, like I said a bit earlier, there might be errors. So I'm basically chasing the full set of these. There's 30 players in total. In terms of the expensive ones, it's probably Steve Adams, New Zealander, and then also Giannis. There's a couple of others I can't think of right now that are also a little bit expensive, but nothing will come close to Giannis. I busted a lot of product of this back in the day, so this is a really cool set to go down memory lane with for me. So it's Tony Mitchell, Glenn Rice Jr., Nate Walters, Shabazz Muhammad, Ricky Leto, Gal McKell. And again, it's a bit hard to see the names on this, so I do apologize. I just don't want to take too long. If you want me to go slow, I'll maybe do a reel for you or something, or post another video going through this set separately. Luigi Totome. I'm Italian, he's Italian, so it's a pretty cool thing to get. Tony Snell. And then Eric Murphy. So I hit a lot of him actually back in the day. He was like a really popular to get in the base relic auto. In terms of this same pile here, I'm a Chelsea fan, so this was a really good pickup. Branislav Ivanovic is a Chelsea legend. Apologies, the camera's a little bit blurry. But yeah, pretty cool card to get. Some of you might say, well, it's the West Brom jersey. Why did you pick it up? Well, you can see on the back here, it is, so it is match worn, but that is a piece of a Chelsea jersey, which I think is pretty fantastic in my opinion. Now, I know in fact that these are the same jerseys. Well, I shouldn't say fact, but I know it's the same sort of jerseys they use for Flawless 2015 for Chelsea. I've seen other patches in the same card that do have the Chelsea logo or do have the Chelsea sponsor or his nameplate, which is pretty cool. I got this for like $2. Again, why is it in one touch? Well, that's how I like to keep my PC. So I thought that was pretty cool. You can see here, I was initially working on the blue prisms for this set instead of the purples, but now I've just decided to sell them the purples. It's too much to go for. Sorry, they had to fix the focus. It's a bit easier to see now. Yeah, the blue prisms do look good, but the purple, as you can see, it's not the same player, but you can sort of just see how much more like refraction you get in that pulsar. It just looks fantastic in person. It's like 10 times better in person. So these two will get sold. They should do pretty well here in Australia. Basketball does sell pretty well, a little bit better than it does in the States in terms of pricing, maybe not so much as demand. Again, this is a pretty cool one to add to the PC. Kevin Durant, even though it's the blue prism, it is match worn. This sort of stuff, match worn stuff, is the way to go to collect, guys. I love it. Like, I'm a collector first and foremost, and I find it really odd that this sort of stuff gets slept on, yet people rush to buy like a patch from, you know, a modern set when it's not match worn or associated with the player. Like, this is worn in a game. Okay, I keep saying patch by mistake. It's a prime relic. I should correct myself. But this sort of thing, it's just so cool as a fan of the sport to sort of have, you know, something that the player wore either before the match or during the match that you can sort of sit back and say, you know what, that's pretty cool, right? As a fan, that's a really cool sort of way to interact with the sport, which I think is a really good thing about collecting cards, right? Not many people seem to appreciate these days. Andrew Bogut is Aussie. I won't keep this for the set. There's too many of the base cards, right? So I'm not going to chase the purple pulsars for them. I will sell that. I got this for like a few dollars. This will sell really, really well here in Australia. This is not sports. Dragon Ball Z. This is a clear card from Series 3. It is the chase card. There's 4 to collect in total, 2 per hobby box. This set is not too easy to find these days, so these things do sell well here in Australia as well. I've got the full set of those, so it's nothing super exciting for me in terms of pickup. I just picked it up because it was cheap. A few more base cards. So basically these go with the lot that I showed you a little bit earlier. I am chasing the rainbow. I'm essentially going to get those graded down the line once it becomes a little bit cheaper as well. Now, there's a big lot here of red hots. I really like the red hot and the white hot inserts from this set. This is one of the insert sets that I'm chasing every card for. I think there's 30 in each. Again, not chasing them super hard. I picked these up from the recent ComC sale. Got them for like $1 each US, which is you know, a huge deal in my opinion, or a really good deal, I should say. Now, this next little handful of cards is from Dragon Ball Z. Again, similar set to what you just saw over here. The cool thing about these are some of them are actually quite expensive. So this card is the reason why I bought it. There's 4 different series for Dragon Ball Z Artbox, series 1 to 4. Obviously, if there's 4, this is from series 4. This is the last clear card that I needed. So similar to this, only found in the hobby boxes, 4 to collect in total, 2 per hobby box. But what's interesting is that this one here appears to be a lot rarer from series 4 than the other 3 clear cards. And when it does sell, if you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z, it's pretty cool because you've got the 3 like Super Saiyans, you've got Future Trunks, Goku, and Vegeta. This one seems to sell for like upwards of $300-$400 US. I've seen it sell for that much. I bought it off the seller, the same as the rest of these cards, which I'll go through in a second, for about $180 US, which I think is fair because, you know, this card is worth that alone, if not more. So I've got this, the last card that I needed out of the 4 series plus the 2 other collectible sets. You know, you're talking, you know, probably 400-500 cards. A lot of them are quite rare. I've got a lot of sealed wax from that set as well, which is quite rare. As an example, that green box you can sort of see there. That's the only sealed box I've ever seen in existence, let alone, sorry, it's the only box I've seen in existence, let alone sealed, and that one's sealed, which is pretty cool. So I'll keep this for the collection. I bought all these from the same seller. He basically did a bundle for me. A lot of these gold cards, I won't take you through them all now because it might be a bit boring if you're a sports fan, but these will basically fund the whole purchase, right? So it means I get this card for free, which is, you know, quick little tip. That's how I love to go about collecting cards, right? I've said before on the channel, you know, I don't come from a whole lot of money, right? So I always feel really guilty when I'm buying cards. Now, there's a whole lot more cards I'm going to go through in a second. So what I like to do is to sort of justify me, you know, spending that money. I like to, you know, buy a bunch of cards, sell them, which means I get cards like this for free. Costs a $0 cost base, which means if I ever need to sell in a hurry, I'm not going to feel guilty about paying, let's just use this card as an example, say it's worth $300, okay? I'm not going to feel guilty about paying $300 for a card that I'm going to struggle to sell when I maybe need money in an emergency, right? If I end up in hospital or something along those lines, right? I always think, worst case scenario. Because I bought this card with some others that I've since sold, which means I've got this card for free, right? I can then sell this card for, well under comps to get somebody to entice to spend money, right? Because sometimes it's really hard to sell cards. And then I can sit back and not have to worry about, I've made a loss, crap, right? I hate that thinking, and that's why I go about this sort of collecting, right? Because it makes it, a lot easier. Now, before I jump into a lot more sports cards, I want to quickly show you something pretty cool. So I just touched on those Dragon Ball Z stuff. They're made by Artbox. Artbox made a bunch of different sets as well. They did Spider-Man, The Simpsons, as you can see here, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, a bunch of different things. I really like what they've done with some of their cards. So, I've collected the Simpsons set. I just thought this was pretty cool. So this is a collectible tin. It is still sealed. You get those things as you can see there. I'm not sure if I'll open this or not. I might sell it just because I've spent a lot of money on cards lately. So we'll see. But I wanted to keep it sealed initially, but now I'm thinking I might open it. I might sell it. I don't know what's up just yet. But speaking of Artbox from The Simpsons, I also bought this. So they do collectible binders. You'd get like little pamphlets when you bust it up in the pack of cards. So there's a mosquito flying in front of me. And you'd do the mail away. You'd get this. And they'd give you a free pack, some cards. They'd give you a really cool collectible, which I'll show you in a second, actually. But I just bought this to, apologies, to put my set in. Just a binder, but it is pretty cool, made by Artbox, as you can sort of see there. This is from the Simpsons film card. Again, I'll probably keep this one. I bought 3, actually, so I'm going to sell 2, because they do sell really well here in Australia. I bought 3 because the guy gave me a really good deal. I'll sell 2 and have 1 to keep for myself. Now, the last thing I'll show you for The Simpsons is this pretty cool thing here. So what Artbox did, like I said, I don't want to bore you. When you ordered like the binder for Dragon Ball Z as an example, they gave you a 9-card uncut sheet that you can sort of see just there. I don't have the binder for that set. For one of the other Dragon Ball Z sets that I do have the binder for, they didn't give you an uncut sheet. They gave you a promo card. For The Simpsons, I'm pretty sure they gave you a 9-card uncut sheet. I haven't confirmed it yet because I haven't found a little pamphlet in any of the packs that I've opened. But what I did notice is, because I know what Artbox did, right? There's uncut sheets out there like the one you can sort of see there. I've seen other ones as well. I saw somebody online selling the full base set of The Simpsons, right? Because there's 60 cards, or 45 cards, I should say, plus maybe 20 or 30 ultra rares, rares, secret rares, so on and so forth. I saw somebody selling a full set, so all 45 cards in 9-card uncut sheet form. Now, I'm fairly certain these would have come in the binders, irrespective, though, me being a collector, first and foremost. Having the full set of uncut sheet form, I think, is a really cool thing. I've got other uncut sheets in my collection. I wanted to add this. I think it's a really, really cool thing. And sorry, I was talking away from the camera. It's a really, really cool thing. So I'm really happy to add that to my collection. Now, back to some cards before I get to my quick, awesome way to go about collecting things like that. Tips coming in a little bit. Now, this card on top here is a pretty cool gift from a subscriber. So he reached out to me on Instagram. He basically said, Daniel, I've got a bunch of cards graded with tag. I think the slab looks fantastic. I want you to do a review on it. So I've got it in hand. This will basically never get sold. You'll sit on my shelf all the time. I will do a review on this shortly, but just off the bat, this is probably the best slab I've handled. A big fan of CGC slabs. This feels and looks like a shit ton better. So really, really impressed. Review to come shortly. Now, similar to what I said a little bit earlier with regards to my Select Euro 2020 chase, I've got a bunch of graded cards here that I picked up for quite cheap, because it just seems like people have spent way too much money on cards and are now selling these for well under the grading fee. I got these for like $10 each or something ridiculous. So I've got a PSA 10 of the Bernadeschi in blue, PSA 10 of the Insigne in orange, and then a PSA 10 of the Emerson in purple. I'll sell the raw that you saw earlier if you did notice that. Again, these other ones will get graded as well that I own raw, but not just yet. The fee's still too high. PSA eventually will come down. Now this big pile here is all basketball cards. It's all Matisse Thybulle. He's an Aussie, if you weren't aware. Some of this stuff's my PC, some of this stuff is to sell, because again, he's Aussie, he sells well here in Australia. The PSA 10s are going to say I'm keeping, everything else is being sold. So this is an on-card auto. I really love these autos in contenders, okay? It's not numbered, it's a PSA 10, but the fact that it's on-card auto, because I'm a collector first and foremost, when I see stuff like this, it always shocks me that people sleep on it. Like, who cares if it's not numbered? It's an on-card freaking auto. Like, guys, come on. Don't let that little serial number on the card always, cloud your judgment on what other things are out there. Now, I don't think every contender's auto is on card. I think it's the one hand on ball, two hands on the ball, the layup one, so on and so forth. But again, sick looking card. I think these look fantastic. Cool card for my PC, in my opinion. I got this pile of Matisse label from my Slabs and eBay for quite cheap. So Green Mosaic PSA 10. And we've got a Ruby Wave PSA 10. Squirtle from the same seller. It's not a sports card, so I did lie a bit earlier, but that'll get sold PSA 8. I think the rest are all 9s. Matisse label Orange Ice. Matisse label Orange Ice 9. Pink Ice 9. Again, these will sell really well here in Australia. Ruby Wave. So it's a bit far away from you guys. Sorry. Red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. Green Mosaic this time in a 9, a base 10, so this will get sold even though it's a 10. I'm not a big fan of draft picks. I actually bought this by mistake. I didn't realize it was draft picks. I'm an idiot. But it was in a lot, so I can't complain too much. That's a PSA 10 that'll get sold. And then a Bol base Prism rookie that I bought for like six months ago when it was like $2 or $3 for this slab. I know I can sell it for a lot more now because he's been on fire lately, which is good for me, right? So that's it for that little pile. I'll get to my soccer cards again in a second, just because I think they're probably my favorite pickups, to be honest. We've got a little pile here. Shaq from 2009 Topps that is numbered out of 2009 as well, as you can sort of see there. I initially bought this to keep for the PC. I was going to crack it and put it into one touch, but now I'm thinking, because I've spent so much on soccer cards, I'll show you shortly, I'm probably going to sell it as is. A nice looking card. I'm not entirely sure. I think the chipping up there on the top is why it got an 8.5, but again, who cares, right? If you're a PC, if you're a collector, mindset first and foremost. Cards like this that you can pick up for a couple bucks are just really, really cool to own, in my opinion. Whilst this is a purple pulsar, I'm going to sell this one at BGS 9 of Anthony Davis from Select 13-14. It's his second year, 1 of 60. Again, not the best grades. I think the edges or corners let it down. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't checked it out in detail. The corners actually don't look too bad in my... Oh, that bottom left one is pretty poor. But again, pretty cool card. It is a prime relic, 2-color patch, pretty cool. I will sell this one because I'll get a good return here in Australia. That first Matisse label on card order that you saw, I bought this from the same seller. I believe it was ComC. Yes, it was. Don Bradman, it's a cricket card, tobacco card from 1935. If you're not aware who Don Bradman is, statistically, he's the greatest GOAT of all time compared to all of his peers like Michael Jordan, Gretzky, so on and so forth. The guy was seriously a specimen, a freak of nature. These cards don't sell for as much as you think, just because they were mass produced, and the tobacco cards were released here in Australia and in the UK, and typically they were very collector focused, so they kept a lot of stuff in binders and in really good condition, or albums I should say. So not as rare as you'd think from 1935, but again, this should sell pretty well if I do say so myself, and I do. Now, this next set is going to be all Pokemon. This is basically a set for my daughter that I'm working on now. Obviously collected Pokemon back in the day, as everyone my age did. I'm a big fan of the Jungle set, just because I really like the artwork from that set. So I'm working on a PSA 9 set, first edition set of Jungle for my daughter. These were basically bought in 2 or 3 lots. There are some 8s on top, these 2 in particular from one lot, but I will basically sell for those. They do sell really, really well here in Australia, so irrespective, I'm going to get a good deal. Executor PSA 9, there's duplicates of that, so I'll keep the better looking one. Marowak, Pinsir, that's not the hollow version. Cubone PSA 9. Seeking, let me hold this a bit higher up actually. Jigglypuff, Meowth, and you will see some duplicates, like I said, because I got these for like $13 average, $12 US each, including postage. Nidoran, which is a good way to go about things, right? Lots are seriously the way to collect on a budget, in my opinion. Venonat, PSA 9, Goldeen, Meowth again, Spearow, which I think we've seen twice, Nidoran we've seen twice, and then Mankey. Now again, really cheap way to go about collecting lots, right? Because you can get them quite cheap. Working on that set for my daughter, like I said, she'll appreciate it one day, either to remember me by or to sell and make some money on when she's a bit older. Now, I'm going to finish off with these, high-end soccer cards in a second. I just want to show you one thing first, and this is going to be that quick tip that I mentioned at the start of the video, where if you can sort of expand your knowledge on different collectibles, right? If you're a fan of cards, if you can just gain a little bit of knowledge when it comes to comic books or action figures or something along those lines, it really helps you find deals where you can sort of say, okay, this person's selling cards, what else do they have? Oh, wait a minute, they've got this thing that I didn't notice, probably nobody else noticed. I'm going to buy it and sell it for a lot of money. Now, I showed you a bunch of Dragon Ball Z cards at the very start of this video. This seller in the States had some of those for sale, and I didn't win them in the end, but obviously me being the person who wants to try and combine cards where I can and try and make, the postage costs hurt a little bit less, I did a bit of research. I looked at what else they had for sale. They had these Dragon Ball Z art books. They're hardcover. Apologies, you can hear my daughter crying in the background. So I was like, okay, let's bid on these. And this is not the deal that I'm going to show you in a second. That's coming a little bit later. Now, these are pretty cool. I'll quickly show you one. Like, it's pretty cool artwork in these. And I've since done a bit of research, and they look like these books individually sell upwards of $150 here in Australia, which is freaking mental. I think I got these, plus the other books I'm about to show you, for like $60, $70, including postage. These are hardcover. They're very, very heavy. There's a bit more. I think there's like 3 or 4, so I don't have the full set. But again, this is a huge return. I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan, so I probably won't sell them. Very happy to have them in the collection. But the thing I do want to show you, right, it is pretty cool. So this person had some comic books for sale. And I've said before, I'm a big fan of comic books. But you don't need to be in the detail like I am with comic books. But if you can sort of expand your knowledge, you're going to see something that I found here, right? Now, they had some other comic books. There's a really, really poor title. And in terms of the description, I've said before, like, lots are your best friend, right? And the second I see a lot on eBay that has a terrible picture, terrible title, that gets me excited, right? That typically tells me the person hasn't put much effort in, which experience tells me you're going to find a deal there if you look. Now, because other people probably saw the shitty description and didn't look into it, they missed out on a steal. Now, I saw Batman Adventures, these 3 books right here. Now, if you want to wear Batman Adventures and Gotham Adventures, basically from the cartoon from the 90s that had the first appearance of Harley Quinn in them. I forget which issue it was, but it was always the first appearance in the cartoon, right? Didn't really transfer over into the DC actual comic book universe. So a couple of years later, they released something, and it was this book right here. Now, this is the first appearance of Harley Quinn in the DC comic books, right? It is a first edition hardcover trade paperback. No, it's not hardcover, sorry, softback. Now, that was just sitting in there with the lot, right? You really couldn't see it in the photos. I had to like dig a bit through the photos, and I had to ask a couple of questions with the person. But this book alone is worth upwards of $200 in the condition that it currently is, $200 Australian. So like I said, because I expanded my knowledge, right? I'm aware of comic books. I saw this when nobody else did. So it means I got a deal that nobody else did. And it's a trick with eBay, right? You do that work, you put in that extra effort to click through the photos, and you got to find opportunities like this. People slept on it. Now I'm going to sell this book, and basically, these Dragon Ball books I'm probably going to keep for my collection. A bunch of these cards that I just showed you, are going to be worth $0 to me now, because I can sell this book that I got for like $2 or $3 for a couple of hundred. Crazy, I know. Not a lot of people do it. They sort of see lots and they sort of get discouraged. We're like, oh, I'm not going to do that. Just take a freaking look, guys, because you can find opportunities like that. Expand your knowledge. If you don't know about comic books, just go online, watch some videos, right? Expand your knowledge. Understand key first appearances. If you're looking at action figures, sort of understand, what years Star Wars action figures were like the most collectible, in the sense that, okay, which ones were mass produced, which ones weren't. Just keep that in the back of your head. So when you look through eBay, when you're going to flea markets, when you're going to shows, so you're going to see something that other people haven't noticed, right? It's the same as like going through dollar boxes at a card show. Nobody wants to do it, but I'm somebody that does. You sit there and you can find freaking steals. Put the work in, because nobody else is going to do it. Don't be lazy, put the work in. Now, to finish up on this lot of cards, I picked up some Flawless 2015 Soccer. Now, this is, in my opinion, the best soccer set ever released. It's the only year they did Flawless for soccer. It's a remarkable set. It's better than Eminence, in my opinion, which is the premier soccer set, for a couple of reasons. The cards look a lot better, and the autos look a shit ton better in this set than they do in Eminence. Eminence looks like dog shit, in my opinion, and I'm constantly shocked at how cheap Flawless Soccer actually sells for. This is all match one stuff. A quick tip for those of you that are fans of Premier League teams: the match one memorabilia you're seeing in this set are not international, even though these are international like cards in the sense that it's England, Spain, so on and so forth. They're match one to Premier League jerseys. I've confirmed that by looking at other cards. So this is a Joe Hart 1 of 20 jersey numbered, match one jersey, match one boot or sock. I can't confirm which one it is for this set. I'm not a Man City fan, but somebody will be. I got this for like $40 US. This was sold for a lot more here in Australia. Now, from the same seller, I picked this up. Soul of the Game 9 of 10. Beautiful on-card auto. Again, match one, piece of the boot. Absolutely fantastic in my opinion. This stuff is so freaking slept. It's so cheap. You're getting a piece of a match one item from a Premier League player, as an example, during probably the best era of the Premier League, in my opinion, like 2005 to 2015. Just, it's remarkable. People are out there paying more money than what this card costs to get some shitty patch that's not associated with a player in a current set of some player that they're speculating on. Someone like this, guys. He played in the match that Aguero scored that phenomenal goal. You see Joe Hart running with his arms out when Aguero scored that goal when Man City broke Manchester United's back and won their first Premier League title in a long run. I think it was like 50 or 60 years. That's history. That's remarkable stuff to get. And what's also cool if you're a City fan is these pieces of memorabilia from the 2014-15 season, which I believe you guys won in 2013-14. This is from the season where they had the gold badge. You see that on some of the other patches. Now, 2 PC cards that I did pick up. Branislav Ivanovic, once again, as I showed you at the very start. Again, stole the game, 10 of 15. Beautiful on-card auto. It is match worn. It's all match worn and flawless. Beautiful cards, in my opinion. This is a very thick boot. It's bulging the card stock. This is just freaking phenomenal card, in my opinion. He is a Chelsea legend. What is a huge fun fact, if you're a Chelsea fan, these jerseys, these pieces of memorabilia for Chelsea players are from 2014-15. Done a lot of research to confirm that. What's exciting about that is Chelsea won the title in 2014-15. So Branislav Ivanovic wore this boot in a match in the year they won the title. Most likely a Premier League match rather than a cup game or like a friendly. Irrespective though, it's the year they won the title. To have a piece of that as a Chelsea fan is remarkable. What people that don't follow soccer need to understand is the barrier to entry to meet a soccer player to get an auto is a lot harder than it is to do in the States. Graphing in the UK and around Europe is a lot harder than it is to do with NBA players, NFL players. So it's remarkable to have this in my collection. It will go to get graded so I can put on my shelf. And then staying with the theme of Chelsea, 6 of 15, sold the game, Diego Costa, patch, boot patch, I should say, PSA 9. The first time I've seen one of these cards in hand, a thick PSA slab, actually remarkable. Again, PSA 9, phenomenal, Chelsea legend, even though he left acrimoniously. I think he won 2 titles with us, if I remember off the top of my head. Ivanovic, I think, won 3. Ivanovic actually, famously, I'm going on a bit of a tangent now, famously got suspended before the Champions League final in the semi-final, and he found out via the reporter in the post-match. He looked so disappointed. This guy was instrumental in getting us to our first Champions League win, even though he didn't play in the final. A legend. Diego Costa is also a Chelsea legend, even though he left acrimony. Oh, is it the word? He left on bad terms, is the word I'm trying to go for. Piece of the boot, again, from the year we won the freaking title. Phenomenal. Like, guys, that's the way to go for soccer. So that's sort of it for this video. I don't think I forgot any cards or things that I picked up. Again, that was my stuff that I bought from the States for the last 6 months. I didn't spend a whole lot buying last year, to be honest. I did buy a lot from Australia. You would have seen those, come up throughout the year. Just honestly, remarkable. I do apologize for the last video. I'm just very happy to pick up things like this in my collection for a lot cheaper than you think, because people are just done with the cards they're chasing these days. So I hope you liked the video. If you want anything answered, ask me down in the comments below. Hope you liked what I did pick up. I do like to buy cards, guys. It seems that when I do call people out for things, they seem to say, well, Daniel doesn't collect. Well, look behind me, mate. There's like a bunch of different collectibles. I don't collect, right? I'm an idiot. I don't collect. Yeah, so on. I'm talking like an idiot now. So I'll see you in the next one. I hope you did like it, and thanks for watching. Cheers.